There was a time when they said there is a revolving door between politics and business. But unfortunately, that time is long gone. That's all history now. Because these guys have broken down the entire wall. Okay? And they've made one big, giant, cushy office for themselves. Okay? Now, us, the individual, you and me, have a huge fight on our hands here. Why? Because up until now, and this continues actually today, we have focused our attention on the wrong struggle. Okay? Yes, there's legitimate struggles like race-based struggles, right? Blacks versus whites. You know, for example, I'm from South Africa. So in South Africa, the whites in South Africa currently are generally pretty rich, right? Richer than most blacks. And South Africans are very obsessed with this whole race talk. I mean, everything, the entire struggle around resources, etc. in South Africa is around race. But I would submit that our efforts are misdirected, really, because the petty squabbles we have, I mean, these things exist. I'm not saying they don't exist, but like gender issues, for example, I mean, patriarchy or male, we do live in a male-dominated society, and women are quite right in expressing their views regarding how they have been oppressed and are being oppressed. But these are small time in terms of the struggle that we're facing together, all of us as individuals. Okay. The fight now is no longer between blacks and whites, women and men, middle class, working class, and all of that. No. The war now is against the corporations. Okay? Let me elaborate on this further. Okay, but I want to actually quote before I carry on. Benito Mussolini, the mentor to Adolf Hitler himself. He said, fascism should more appropriately be called corporatism, because it is a merger of state and corporate power. That's what Benito Mussolini said in like 1939 or something like that. Today we live in a world where the corporation is all powerful. Okay, annual net profits of corporations are bigger than a lot of countries' GDP. Let's take a practical example. Okay, Microsoft. We should all be familiar with Microsoft. If you're watching this, you know who Microsoft is, right? Microsoft made a net profit. Okay, this is after Bill Gates has taken his $1 billion salary. The executives have taken their $50 million bonuses. They've paid their taxes. This is net. Okay, they made $14.6 billion last year alone. Now, out of all the countries in the world, let's say the United Nations has about 193 member states. 90 odd countries have a GDP. That's the entire amount of goods and services produced in a country in a year. GDP of less than that. Then 1 year net profits for Microsoft. And this is one corporation. I don't care which corporation you want to name. You name them. The big banks, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, JP Morgan, Big Oil, Who is that? BP, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Big Pharma. You have GlaxoSmithKline. You have Pfizer. You have Bayer. You have all these massive companies. McDonald's, Coca-Cola. These companies' profit pale. Well, they make the GDPs of many countries in the world seem like pittance. Okay? And who controls all of these companies? And they're getting bigger and bigger every single day. There's mergers and acquisitions. They just go around buying up everything. I used to work for SAB Miller, the biggest brewer in the world. Okay. The thing about corporations is that it's a person itself, right? We discussed this last time. So a corporation doesn't have any feelings. All that a corporation does is make profit, and it does everything in its own interest to expand and be as big and as influential as possible. So when you think that you live in a democratic society, vote ANC, vote DA, vote Democrat, vote Republican, Tory, Liberal, Conservative, whatever. There's no such thing as democracy. The whole concept is one big sham. It's a scam, the whole thing. I mean, all of these guys are funded by these corporations. So who do you think, whose interests do you think they have at heart? Yours? No. They have the corporation's interest at heart. I mean, if you're a dictator of some tin pot third world country, a huge corporation like BP comes along, or Shell, says, listen, $50 million, it's yours, okay? Just look the other way, we want to go in there and do this and that. Or whatever policies you implement, okay, make them favor us. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? $50 million, I mean, please. And that's nothing to these guys, to these big companies. That bastion of freedom and democracy and justice, the United States of America. And I'm not talking about third world, I'm talking about the richest country in the world. The political system is run by corporations. These guys fund the campaigns. News Corp, Robert Murdoch's company. By the way, he owns 60% of News Corp. News Corp is one of the biggest media companies in the world, and one of the biggest in America. They gave the Republican Party $1 million in campaign contributions. So in that case, I mean, who are these politicians beholden to? You? Me? No. They are in the pockets of the corporation. Hence I say, while we are busy fighting our struggles amongst ourselves, oh blacks, oh whites, oh middle class, oh women, oh men, this, that. These guys, like a python, when a python has you in its grip, right? And every breath you take, it just keeps squeezing. That's what they do. They keep buying up more companies. They buy up more politicians. They dictate foreign policy. They dictate public policy. The corporations are all powerful. So, the point I'm trying to make here is this. We need a paradigm shift in our struggle. Our struggle is no longer against each other as individuals, because we end up the losers anyway. Struggle is against big corporations. These guys that own everything. Privatize water. I mean water, for crying out loud. Pretty soon we'll be buying the air that we breathe. Monsanto has patents on seeds. What are we going to eat? They want to own everything. Let's wake up, guys, okay, and see the big picture. This struggle is political in nature and global in scope. See you next time on Lies Unpacked, audiovisual. Cheers.